Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell, the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and today we are going down by the sea. Greg, you know, my family's from Naples, so, you know, we are down by the sea, and you've touched me deeply, Greg, in that you have turned me into a gondolier today. My Pecksniffian assistant has got me gondoliered up here. Quite clever, very clever. Touche, assistant. I'm going to go ahead and toss this off camera. There we go. Oh, another great catch by the Kenny. So today we are talking about the Cant, the Z.506, the Arione in Italian, or the Heron. Now, this aircraft, we're going to get into kind of the usual profile on some of these Italian airplanes. It was designed by Filippo Zapata. He designed it. Notice I'm using my hands more a lot, Greg, with these Italian airplanes. I don't know why it is, but I'm really getting into this. It first flew in 1935. It was introduced in 1936, and it was retired, kind of like the last one we did, in 1959, if you can believe that. Fairly low build rate of 350 aircraft. There were some various types. The most built, 314 built of the most type, but about 350 overall. I'm going to go ahead and give you a plan view in the airplane. Now, this is a little teeny tiny 506, but Greg will throw up a plan view in the airplane. Now, this technology is a seaplane. This was a seaplane. It has completely gone by the wayside. This is a technology that, aside from like some cruise ship stuff and some airplanes on floats, it's pretty much completely gone out of the inventory. But as I talked about, a usual profile for Italian aircraft is that it set a number of speed and different aircraft records from 1936 to 1938. The pilot for that was Mario Stoppin. I hope I didn't get his name too bad. He was the pilot, and he did a lot of that. Now, it was originally developed as an air transport. A lot of these aircraft, and historically this has been done a lot, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but a lot of Axis aircraft, because of a treaty, they were not allowed to develop military aircraft. A lot of these aircraft were developed under civilian guys, and then they were converted to military applications. This particular aircraft is no different. Originally, it was designed as a 12 to 14 passenger float plane. Fairly quick for a float plane. Maximum speed was 220 miles an hour, so it was pretty fast. If you think about fighter interceptors at that time were in the low 300s, the high 275 to low 300 miles an hour on fighter interceptors, it was fairly quick. When it was developed into a military aircraft, it had some defensive armament, typically a crew of up to 5, 7.62, 7.7 millimeter machine guns, so equivalent to like a 303 round or a 30 caliber round, a rough equivalent. We've talked about that before, but it was very good in the search and rescue and the maritime role. It was not a great attack airplane. It really was more of a reconnaissance and a SAR, a search and rescue aircraft, and that's what they used it for. It was very, very important in the conquest of Greece, and the Italians using the conquest of Greece, and in the fighting that happened along the Italian peninsula and into when the Italians were fighting in North Africa. Typical profile 3-engine profile, but the Italians had a lot of trouble with engines, and ultimately, like we talked about with some of their fighters, a lot of times what they would do is they would pull in copies of other people's aircraft engines and replicate them. Engines on this were pretty reliable, but nonetheless, it did have some trouble. Now, as I said, it was involved in a air-sea rescue role. To tell you about how nasty that got, there were two of these herons that one went out on an air-sea rescue mission and was shot down, and it was marked by Red Cross. It had Red Cross markings on it, was shot down by a British Hurricane. The second aircraft that was sent out to rescue the first aircraft was also shot down. When they interviewed the British pilot, they asked him, did you see the crosses? And he said it wouldn't have made any difference. That is how I've talked about the British and the Italians in a really nip and tuck fight in the Mediterranean. They did not like each other, and it was a no-quarter war, air war in the Mediterranean between them. It was not, people characterize the Italian military and the Italian conflict in the Mediterranean with the British as more of a walkover, and it really, if you look at it historically, in a historical context, it really was not that. The Italians were a formidable enemy. They had a large fleet. They had very well-designed aircraft. Their leadership wasn't great with Mussolini, and he got them into a fight ultimately that was way above their heads when they got pulled into the full balance of World War II. But the conflict between the Europeans, the European powers in that area, was really ugly. So air-sea rescue, no matter who was doing it, was a risky business, because if you're going to get down pilots, the Americans in the Pacific turned it into an art form with subs and PBY flying boats. But when you got shot down at sea, your chances of being rescued were pretty slim. And a lot of times it was only these float planes or these amphibs that we were talking about that would come out and get you. So what I want to talk about today is, and we have in our inventory, we've talked about our PBY Catalina, but all the folks that went out and did search and rescue. At this point, remember, no GPS, it's all dead reckoning. You're looking for a fly speck in the ocean, and in many cases, there are people shooting at you, or there's people that really don't like you, that if they catch you, they're gonna shoot you down. And in our case, an American search and rescue, with all of our flying boats and the subs, they saved, I would say, probably thousands of pilots if you looked at the continuum of the war, especially in the Pacific, where the war was fought all over water, but in the Mediterranean, around Great Britain, in the Atlantic, in the later in the war with the convoys and things like that, and saving people who ships had been sunk and lost at sea. So if you were an American search and rescue crewman, pilot, or you were involved in that, no matter what you were doing, whether you were on a PBY or an amphib or you were in a submarine, I salute you. So I'm taking one for the team today. Greg has decided that although I had 3 Warbird Wednesdays that were somewhat blissful, now he's going to go back and torture me. So today he went out and got beef drinker teriyaki beef jerky soda. Rubbing your tummy. I have never even heard of beef jerky soda besides this. 160 calories. Okay, so there you go. Carbs are pretty low, no protein. The scary part, well, there is some sugar in this, which is interesting. Hopefully it's not totally repulsive. We will let you know when we open the aroma here. Oh my goodness. And it's kind of fizzing a little bit, so get 911 on the line. This one may be bad. Oh my word. Greg, you have made up for oh yeah, he's laughing there. We're going to get you on camera one of these. Oh, this is absolutely disgusting. This customary second sip, that's a deal. Yeah, knock it back. No. That's repulsive. You have to ask yourself, why would you bottle that? There has to be a cost bottling that, but I guess it's just offensive. So I'm going to leave it at that. So the little heron here, the 506, was also has an interesting history in that it is the only Axis aircraft ever successfully hijacked in flight. The only Axis aircraft. Apparently they were moving prisoners that managed to overpower the aircrew, take over the airplane. Well, you know, it's the Italians, right? Okay, I'm going to throw a little bit in there. Hey, you know. But they're having a little Chianti, and the next thing you know, they don't own the airplane anymore. But it was the only Axis aircraft ever successfully hijacked in flight, which is kind of interesting. Now, at the end of the war for the Italians, I should say, at the armistice, about 70 aircraft went over to the Allies, and the Italians continued to fly them. Now, interestingly enough, the Germans also got a hold of these. Now, they did something really interesting. They moved them up to the Baltic, and they actually flew them out of Poland in the Baltic as maritime patrol airplanes. So the airplane went on and had a life. Now, like and a few of them, that's where they kind of soldiered on in this kind of search and rescue transport role out until about 1959. Now, like all of the other Italian aircraft that we have discussed, they're basically extinct. There is one aircraft that was built in 1941 that is on an exhibit in a museum outside of Rome, and that's it. Maybe you might be able to find some, wrecks on the ocean floor if you find one, but this airplane is completely gone. If you know of another airplane, let me know. But in my research, that's the only one that I could find that was on display. It was an early version of the airplane. It was built in 1941. Now, if you want to amaze your friends and show them your very cool, this is a really neat product. This is a laptop case with an Army Air Corps insignia, and it actually has a little protective data plate on it. Now, we also had, and Jason can throw those up in the merchandising that goes along with this. I think we're actually sold out of them, Greg, but they actually had like Boeing backpacks that were similar design. So Jason can throw up all that stuff. Maybe we can order one of those for you. But if you want, this is really cool. I actually think I'm going to get one of these. I think it's nice for your laptop. So click on that link below for the merchandise piece, and you can actually order this. But this is something that you can amaze your friends. It's actually kind of comfy to the touch, for your computer. So I really, really like that. Now, if you have come across us on YouTube and you like Warbird Wednesday and can tolerate the hats and the drinks, or you want to tune in to see whether Greg is going to be able to poison me that week, subscribe to our channel. We love to have you subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the videos, give us a video, give us your comments, like us on Facebook, give us comments on Facebook. And if you like Warbird Wednesday, forward it to your friends. Who knows? They might want to watch me wear a ridiculous hat, get poisoned, and talk about a lost airplane. We're going down the Italian road, one more aircraft next week. We finish up the Italians. We're going to leave you guessing where we go next, but we are going to be going into 4 other aircraft, very rare aircraft, as we follow on after the Italian and the Axis aircraft that we've been covering. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Remember, we can't do what we do without your donations, so click on that link that's in the description. Leave us a few lira. We can appreciate that, or maybe a few spicy meatballs, Greg. What do you think? Maybe a medical card, because I may need medical assistance one day. But thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.